Welcome to Under the Sun podcast. I'm Ilea.
And I'm Irene. Grab a cup of coffee and your comfiest sweats and join us every Monday as two best friends discuss everything from raising free-range gremlins to business and really everything under the sun.
Let's get started, and thanks for being here.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. And it is just ignore the fact that we're wearing the same outfits. We did not think ahead.
Nope.
And we're different outfits.
Also, we're doing the best we can. And we had a good couple hours tonight that we normally don't have. So it's like, all right, what can we do in this block of time? And that for us is talk about our babies.
Mm-hmm. We love our babies.
Yeah, we do. I love birthing babies.
You love birthing babies?
I think I do. But I think it's it has to be the hormone, like the chemical. Because if someone was to say like, hey, you want to go into labor right now? I'd probably say yes. Man, like God bless those chemicals. The human population would not exist if those didn't exist.
I told Dave, I just like I'm on my cycle. So like, I think it was like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it would be nice to be pregnant. And then but then it was like devil and angel on each side of the shoulder. And I was like, oh, not love my baby would have her 1,000 times over. Yeah. It's just, I think I'm thinking, like Dave's work schedule has been ridiculous for basically the last 13 months of her life.
Yeah.
And because he had like a 1 month paternity leave, which was lovely. Yeah. Then as soon as he went back, like he's worked crazy hours ever since. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do 2 kids just by myself.
Yeah.
It's not the pregnancy. It's not the long ass labor. It's
my work schedule's been weird too. And historically speaking, as soon as I'm pregnant, I just check out of everything. No, in the beginning, because I'm usually really sick. And then towards the end, I'm like, nothing matters. You're on your own. Don't burn down the building. See ya. So, But so I don't know. Even after Riker's birth being slightly traumatic for me, I remember driving home, telling Jacob, the next time we do this, I was like, I did it. I proved to myself I can do it. The next time I'm taking every drug known to mankind. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I was pregnant with Nova, he's like, you're calling the birthing center, aren't you? I was like, I already did. So but I don't know. So this is a good segue into Nova's birth because I said that after Rika. It's been a long day. I said that after Riker's birth and then knew I was not going to do that. As soon as I got pregnant, I immediately went to where I felt safe, and that was not the hospital.
Yeah.
And forgot everything throughout her pregnancy. Still, like, it was in the back of my mind, like, oh, I'm going to have to do that again, but whatever, I can do it again. It wasn't until the very end of the pregnancy, again, she came out 41 and 3 or something, still late. So I didn't have to see the OB this time, but I think my appointment was the next morning at 9 a.m. Like that, I had her March 8th, and I had an appointment scheduled for March 9th to see the OB. Oh, no, I had an appointment on the 8th. I was in labor when I was supposed to be at the appointment. So they still had it scheduled for me to meet the actual doctor. Still had a lot of stress of, great, here we go again. I could tell myself enough logically, the stress of thinking I'm going to have to be induced is not helping my body feel calm enough to go into labor. But still, like, you have someone saying, and the calendar date's ticking, like, oh, you're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of time. And that was not fun. But with Riker, I went from 0 to 60, no Braxton Hicks, no pre-labor, no anything, to water breaking and back labor immediately. With Nova, I think it was it prodromal labor? Mm-hmm. Or Braxton Hicks. I still don't know.
I hate that word,
but
prodromal.
It's the worst to say. But with her, I think how many times did I text you? I'm like, okay, they've been consistent for 5 minutes. It might be tonight. And then like weeks went by and she didn't come out. So I had been contracting with her for several weeks. Which, on the note of contracting, I know a lot of the natural birth things are like, don't say contractions and don't say this, say like rushes or waves. But I like the word contracting, which some people don't. I am just enough technical brained that when I'm having a contraction, my brain is telling my body like, oh, we're squishing to get the baby out. That word never caused me any stress, which
I think when some
It's
people say
interesting how-
it causes me stress because when someone
Does
say
it?
contracting, it makes my whole body go
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm like my body need like
Yeah.
my shoulders, everything, face, everything
Everything
gets
that
tense.
shouldn't. And mine, I think when I knew that word, like when I'm in the throes of like hypnobirthing, when I was having a contraction, my brain disassociated my body and like all thoughts went to my belly contracting. So I could like science my way out of it, I guess, if that makes sense. So I thought that was interesting that to some people it stresses them out, but to me it actually worked. But all that to say, I had lots of contractions with her, kept thinking tonight was the night, and then it didn't happen. Then my mood would dip, which isn't good for your hormones. Then another night, it was always right before I went to bed. They would kind of ramp up and then I'd fall asleep and wake up the next day and I'm like, well, it's another day, still pregnant. But went into, why did I go? I didn't have an appointment. I don't remember why I went in that day.
What are you talking about? Did you go into the birth center?
I went into the birth center for something.
I don't remember.
I don't remember why I went in either. For some reason, no, it wasn't water. Literally no idea. Completely forgot. For some reason though, I went in because
Was it just a general checkup? Because usually towards the end,
it was
usually
on a
once
Sunday because both my kids were born on Mondays.
week.
For some reason, I went in on a Sunday. Don't know why.
Like, were you having contractions? Did you think it was it? Did you get checked?
No, I didn't get checked. I did get checked that day, which thankfully I went to a place where that's not standard. Like I had to ask her. I was like, can you see if anything's happening? I think it's because I had so many starts and stops and I was really just getting disheartened by it. She checked and she's at that point, you weren't even there. I was texting you because you drove yourself, right? And I was already at like a 3 or a 4. And I was like, there's no way. Because at a 3 or 4 with Riker's labor, like I'm getting the kitchen knife, I'm done. But I was like, no. And like slight denial, I guess. And the only time I remembered Riker's labor is after that, she came back in the room and I think they gave me the midwife's brew that time, which both times I took it, I just threw up half an hour later and it didn't actually do anything or progress anything for me at least. But she gave me that. And as I'm walking out the door, she's like, all right, yeah, we're going to have a baby today. And then like all of the memories, as soon as she said those words to me, flooded in. And I remember just like bawling my eyes out. And she could see that it was in fear, not in happiness or excitement or hormonal bliss. It was just straight terror of what was about to happen. And she was super sweet. She was like, oh, every labor is different. Every experience is different. I forget how she worded it, but the sum of it was, your last birth story will not be this story. And that was enough that I needed to be like, okay, this could be different. And then I think at that point we checked into the hotel, called you.
I brought snacks. I remember you're like, stop at these places and get snacks.
Yep.
And then I was like, you wanted this really freaking rare oat milk,
Grass-fed chocolate milk.
Grass-fed chocolate milk that Hy-Vee, that you're like, it's at Hy-Vee. It definitely is at Hy-Vee. And I'm walking around, I'm like, there's no chocolate milk.
Were you in the milk section of Hy-Vee or the front section?
I looked through the whole place.
Really?
I talked to 5 employees.
Because every time I go in there, I see it and I'm like, do I need chocolate milk today? And then I'm like, no. That's usually a pregnancy thing.
So easy.
I don't mind theirs because it's grass-fed, organic, like expires in 2 days if you don't drink it. So it's as low processed as
no.
you can. So anyways,
tried.
Did not bring chocolate milk to my labor. It's fine.
I wanted to, but I didn't. But I knew that you said like it's fresh. So like,
yeah,
you got to get it fresh. And so I was like, okay.
Yeah, like not going to get it a week before you go into labor.
I went to Hy-Vee and then I went to Schnucks and then I headed out there and then I stopped at whatever. Was there Whole Foods there then?
Fresh Time.
Fresh. There was whatever healthy store. I stopped there too and there was nothing.
What a good friend. Hunting down the grass-fed chocolate milk.
Yeah, but then walking in empty-handed.
I did. Well, Nova's labor. So I'm still confused that she thinks that I'm at a 3-4 because I'm conversating and walking. And Jake and I, after that, we checked into the hotel because we don't live in the same town as a birthing center. So we always got a hotel so it was closer because I don't want to contract for an hour in a car, which sounds terrible. But checked in. I think my mom and my son just watched TV at the hotel. Jake and I went to get lunch. We pull up to Smoothie King because I didn't think I could eat food at that point. I was just uncomfortable. And I was like, well, I'll just get a smoothie. That'll get some quick calories and sugar in. And so we pull up to Smoothie King. My door is facing the Smoothie King building. And as soon as Jake parks the car, I fling the door open and just start puking my guts up on the parking lot. And it's like,
Were you in transition in the Smoothie King parking lot?
I don't think so. I think I puke a lot.
Oh, okay.
The celiac makes my esophagus do weird things, but add a baby pushing up on it was not fun. But I open the door, start puking all over the ground. Jacob goes like, at this point, it's like second kid, whatever. He just leaves me puking in the parking lot and goes inside to get my smoothie. And so he said he walked in the door and the guy behind the counter, because it was a Sunday afternoon, was like, rough night. And he goes, nope, she's in labor. And he said the guy's like early 20s, just like his eyes got really big and he just didn't say a word, made the smoothies as fast as he could. And I was like, wow, that's great. It's like,
young men
I guess a
need
rough
to
night if you think going into labor is rough. But
yeah.
like,
Thinking party.
I hope I never forget that story because it makes me laugh. Like he even like so weird the first to second labor, because first labor I was done, second labor, like Jake comes back and tells me the story and like explains the guy's face. And I started laughing. So that's just crazy. What I did a lot of different prep for the second labor, but I also think like I mentally knew what was coming. So I don't know. I never mind a hard challenge, but it's always easier the second time when you at least know somewhat of what to expect. Yeah. But on a side note to that, I will say that Jacob's storytelling has gotten real good, because most guys are like, oh, that guy thought, would just come back and say, oh, that guy thought we just had a rough night last night. But Jake sat in the car, knows it would make me feel better. And he's like, so I walk in, I'm like, what? He's like, the guy. I'm like, what? And so he tells the whole story in detail. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. He's become a wonderful storyteller.
Okay, so from Smoothie King, then you went back to the hotel?
Back to the hotel. At that point, it was getting a little more intense. So I popped in my AirPods for my hypnobirthing track and was listening to whatever tracks and could still send some text. We hadn't really called the doula yet. Like I gave her a heads up, like, hey, this is what the midwife said. She's like, okay, just let me know when you need me. And it got to a point to where I thought I could still manage, but it was just I wanted different counter pressure than Jake knew what to do, I guess. So at that point I was like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and call Shannon. I don't remember what time that was. It was probably like 1 a.m. The poor thing.
No.
Was it?
It was daytime.
Was it daytime?
It was daytime. It was like morning. I remember it was like 8, 9 in the morning, because that was the first time I ever met Shannon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
I don't know why in my brain it was the middle of the night. And I think
because I remember
I had a little bit of what you did where it's like, nobody come in. It's the middle of the night. Just sleep. But,
yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Then I feel less guilty.
No, you didn't call her. Okay. It was in the morning time.
And I remember my mom. So my mom wasn't at my first labor. She was out of state. There.
Did you not? Did I?
You did.
Did I stay in a bed with your mom?
I think I stayed with my mom in Riker, and you and Jake slept in the other bed.
Okay.
But my mom wasn't at my first labor. She was out of town. She came in early and she got a one-way ticket to hang out with my son. She came in the bathroom a little bit and was like, can I do anything? Can I help you? I was like, no, I think I'm okay. I just need to be alone. And it was really sweet because she was just like, hadn't been through that with anybody or been through that with one of her children before. So super sweet. But I was like, no, I think I just need to be alone, and just kept my tracks in, showered, took a bath. It was so much more peaceful. And then it got to the point to where the counter pressure, I needed more help. So Shannon came in and I'm still in bed. Like I faint memories of you guys all meeting and talking, and I think she asked how I was and somebody else answered, and I was like, okay, they've got it. I'm just going to keep napping away here. And I think I even slept, which is so crazy to think that the first one, I was just so exhausted by the time I had to push that like my energy was tapped. But I should also say, which I forgot to say during Riker's birth, that I sucked through an entire tank of nitrous oxide because that's the only thing they have there. So I went through an entire tank and requested a tank change right before I pushed. And they were like, by the time we get it hooked up, like there's just not enough time. So with Nova, we went ahead and we're like, hey, just have a tank ready. Cause historically, the one time I did it, sucked through a whole tank. So have it ready, have a backup tank ready, like, have all these things. And I don't remember how long we stayed in the hotel, but at one point I was in the bathroom. Shannon was rubbing my back and I was like, I think I'm going to puke. So I puked in the sink, and I puke a lot. So I wasn't thinking, oh, this is transition. And I could still, again, conversate, talk, laugh. But that's when Shannon's very good at not telling you what to do. But she's like, do you think soaking, do you think soaking in the tub at the birthing center would help you relax a little bit? And I was like, maybe, sure, we can try it. But I was like, in my brain, labor, like delivery is not for another 16 hours because I'm walking, I'm talking. It's like, I mean, I guess we can go now. It'd be nice to just be in a tub that I actually fit in versus this hotel tub. So sure, we'll go. And so the whole drive over there, I think I even had contractions in the car, and I still in the car, like it wasn't that bad the second time around. I was like, whatever, like we'll be there in a second. We'll just go in. I get there. I was GBS positive with Nova, which that's one of those. I did a lot of research because I didn't want to have antibiotic and then have my newborn have antibiotic. But there are only really 2 things in the world that I am terrified of. And one of them is bacterial meningitis, and strep is a bacteria. So all the pros and cons, I felt comfortable doing the antibiotic because I know enough about the gut that I was like, I'll focus on my gut. I'll do all the things. I'll put probiotics on my nipples, all the things I need to do to work on this baby's gut. But I'd rather her be alive and have her brain capacity into the end of her life versus that. So I got there fully expecting this antibiotic 4 hours before delivery, and was on the toilet laboring. And I heard the midwife tell Shannon, she doesn't have time for the antibiotic. We'll just tell her the signs to watch out for. And I was like, what? Huh? And then I think, I don't know, Shannon agreed. It was like, okay, or yeah. And I was like, what do you mean I don't have time? There's no way that I'm less than 4 hours from having this baby because Jake's telling jokes. I'm laughing. And if I remember, I'll put a side-by-side swipe on Instagram of my labor, but there's a picture of me during Riker's labor. I'm like desperately holding on to the side of the tub and Jake and this nitrous oxide mask. And then there's a picture of me in labor with Nova, and I'm literally in the tub laughing. And it's so crazy, the differences between the two. So then at some point, someone's like, yeah, you might want to get in the tub. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm in the tub. And then I'm like, this is uncomfortable. All right, this is intense. Okay. And then I was like, hey, Jake was like, will you put some cold water on my back? And then 30 minutes later, there was my daughter. And I think so
born in her
sack. And she would have made it the whole way, but her little elbow punctured it. But I'm still calling it. But she came out in her sack. Her water didn't break. Can confirm water broken labor is way more intense than not water broken labor.
But she was also in a good position.
She was.
So like you can't really determine that.
That's true. That's right? True. Had she been face up and in her sack, it may have been a different story, but it was different. I do remember Riker, I did start to kind of blow him out because at that point I was done. And I remember the midwife saying, hey, you need to stop or you're going to tear. So she kind of coached me into pushing him. With Nova, her head came out and she's still in her sack. And I had a while before I had another contraction. So I remember asking, I was like, is she okay or am I suffocating her? And they're like, no, she's fine. And so it was a long enough break that it kind of scared me. And then the next one, she plopped the rest of the way out. But my son had fallen asleep in the car in the 3-minute drive from the hotel to the center. And so my mom was like, well, yeah, I'll just stay in the car with him while he finishes his nap. All of us thinking it's going to be 10 more hours. And then you had to go out and pretty much...
She was doing her makeup. And so I had to go out and I went and like knocked on the window and she's like, how's it going? And I was like, do you want to come meet your granddaughter? And she... immediate tears everywhere. Just if you know Anna, it was just immediate tears.
But none of us thought because you were at the first one and this one.
Yeah, no, I didn't think because like you were so nice.
Didn't you almost miss the shot too? Is that what I'm remembering? Because you're like, yeah, we got time, and it's like, oh crap, start rolling.
Oh, I remember Shannon. And that was probably the first time she was like, you should be recording. And I was like,
because we thought
I was like, what? And she's like, you should be recording. And I was like, okay. And so I just...
Because how many hours was I in the tub with Riker? I was in the tub and out of the tub and in the tub and out of the tub. And
in hindsight, I wish like we would have done spinning babies to try to get Riker to rotate. Like,
they told me to, and I didn't.
Yeah, but like... Because... I don't know if I actually would have bullied you to do it because that's not my right to do that to you that's laboring. But also like...
They said spinning babies when he was in a good position. And I was like, well, he's in the perfect position. I was afraid that if I did spinning babies, he would go to a not good position. No, I'm saying
during labor.
Oh,
like we should have done.
They tried.
I know, but like.
And I said no. They tried a lot of things and I just remember being out of it. But
like, I wonder if, I don't know, just hindsight. It's like, I wonder if we'd been like, hey, like, let's just try one contraction here and then we can move.
Yeah.
Because that's what, like, I don't know.
Yeah. But no, that was, I mean, Nova's story is a lot faster, but it was a lot faster.
Yeah.
But so for the first round, I had hypnobirthing CDs that I borrowed, but it's just the tracks. It's not the tools to use the tracks. So it's almost as if someone gave you a blueprint to a house and all the building materials, but no hammer. And you're like, great, have all these materials, have the instruction manual, can't do it. Yeah. So this time I had the techniques of like the breathing techniques and the hypnosis techniques, I guess, where the tracks will say, picture this, you're walking down the stairs to the ocean, where, yeah, but if you don't have the proper breathing to like get you in that headset, it's hard to keep.
Yeah. We need to find a different hypnobirthing people.
Yeah. We need to find something.
Like a Christian hypnobirthing or something.
Because there is a Christian hypnobirthing Instagram that I followed, but it didn't have a program. Okay. And so my daughter was born in 2021. My son was born in 2019, and there were no in-person, because I wanted to hypnobirth the first time, but there were no in-person classes. I think the closest one was Chicago. And at that point, I was like, well, I have these CDs. I don't need to drive all the way to Chicago for it. And then when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was like, I still don't want to drive to Chicago. But after all the e-learning from COVID, I was like, there has to be an online program. And then I found that one, which that was years ago. I'm hoping by now there's something, but but I will say, whatever her personal beliefs, that transformed my labor. So I don't know that I still wouldn't refer people unless we found something better, because it was so beneficial to me having this labor that I loved. You gotta have a
third to find a different program.
Yes, I better. I don't tempt me. I would. But
keep your legs together.
But so hypnobirthing was different, and then I had a doula who knew what she was doing. It was different. I think that was pretty much the main two things. That, and I'd already done it before, so I had the not muscle memory, but like I knew what to expect.
And she had the shortest cord that they had ever seen.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. I remember I couldn't even pull her up out of the water onto my chest, because they were like, you can like pull her up to your chest. And I remember saying like, I can't, I feel like my insides are ripping out. And then when the placenta came out, it's like, oh, her cord was itty bitty.
Yeah. So that's weird. And then Riker's was really long.
Yeah. And wrapped around his neck twice, right? Once or twice? I don't remember.
It was wrapped, but they undid it before he even came out. So like they so it's just a variation of normal.
Yep. So that was one had too long of a cord and one had too short of a cord. And I think with Riker's labor, I was saying how he came out on April Fool's Day, upside down, late, all those things. Goofy kid, wonderful kid, but like he's in his joke telling kid phase. Nova came into this world and basically 30 minutes of pushing, barreling her way into every room. And that is accurate.
Little bulldozer.
Yep. Little bulldozer.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Love little Nova.
Super fun. That was a short one, but
what is it?
Only 25 minutes, but also her labor.
Yeah.
It just it was shorter.
Yeah.
I don't actually know when to say hers started. Technically, because I had so much pre-labor.
Yeah.
I have no it could have technically been 2 weeks but it was so from active labor, I want to say 12 hours, give or take.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I'd do my first signs of pregnancy because they were kind of the same with both. So first signs of pregnancy, I think for both kids, before I even knew I was pregnant, I was getting up to pee in the night, which I'm a hairstylist. So I have the bladder of a camel. Like I should pee more than I do. I just don't. But with both kids, I remember having to pee in the middle of the night. And with Riker, I was like, oh, am I getting a UTI? Like, this is so weird. I don't get UTIs. I don't pee in the night. What's happening? So in hindsight.
Is that like early, like before you knew you were
before
pregnant?
I knew, like that must have been like pretty close to conception, which crazy that something that small can affect your bladder. But yeah, I was peeing in the middle of the night.
It's more the hormone related. I can't remember what hormone it is, but the hormone is like a stimulant to the bladder. So it's actually not like.
I assumed his little tiny body was like a weird pressure thing.
No, I used to know it.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's somewhere in your brain.
It's somewhere.
But that was it. I thought it was a UTI. It was a baby. And then with Nova, it was kind of the same. And then a weird pregnancy symptom that I had with both, which was kind of an early sign too, is when I would wash my face with Riker, like any water hitting my face made me want to like either throw up or pass out. And I remember being pregnant and I would take a shower and I would wash everything but my face and I'd wait till the very end. And I would then like stick my face in the water really fast and start washing it. And I was like lightheaded, dizzy, wanted to vomit. And I Googled it. I was like, is washing your face, is there anything pregnancy related? Could not find a thing. And then with Nova, I was in the shower once and I was like, my face feels weird when I wash it. And I was like, whatever, I'm not pregnant. Yeah. So there I was.
Were you trying to get pregnant?
We were not trying to get pregnant, but we were fine if it happened. Like we weren't going out of our way to track anything, but we were both like, oh, now would be a nice time to have a baby. And
at like, Riker was like what, 10 months old?
No, he was a year and 2 months, give or take.
Ugh, that's Leo now.
Yeah, do it. Yeah. So what? Nova's 2 and a couple months, and I remember being kind of sad when she hit that 15-month mark. I was like, oh, the next one, we missed the window for it to be in the same age range.
That's okay.
I wasn't physically ready, but there was a weird sadness of like, dang it, we missed that window. So it's like, all right, the next 2 can be. Oh,
yeah, group the next
2 can be back to back.
Heal your cycles so that you actually know when you conceive.
I'm getting old. Yeah, crank them out.
Let's heal your cycles.
I don't want to jinx myself, but I do feel like, and I've never been tested for it, but like I feel like the quality of my eggs are good because when I was on birth control to fix my cycle, I think it was only 2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm. Where's our button? Our button?
Shoot! Remind me to bring it next time. It's on my piano.
We'll get it next time. But
allegedly,
don't get us sued. No. I was only on it a short period of time, and then I early on found out about my gut issues, and I have been working basically since I was 20 to heal all of that. So I would like to think that all that hard work I put in the beginning shifted the course of like me.
For sure.
Deteriorating my future eggs because
for sure.
I know people who have gotten pregnant and had wonderful pregnancies at 44. So
yeah.
But I do not want to be pregnant at 44. I want to have all of my kids before 40. Move on with my life. So get cracking.
I follow a gal, something Parsons, Purely Parsons.
I know that name.
She was a nurse gone holistic.
Okay.
And I think her name's Elizabeth. I think so. But she just posted that she's pregnant with her 7th.
Ooh.
7th? 8th? Maybe even her 8th. Ooh. Because she just had surprise twins.
Oh my gosh.
She had a home birth and she was like, yeah, my belly was bigger than normal. But like every time I had a sonogram to double check.
Yeah.
One kid was on the sonogram. 2 kids were born.
I
don't know. I can't. Maybe I'm getting a story mixed up, but maybe I feel like she had like a midwife palpate and tried to like feel, but like I feel like she said she was like, there has to be 2 because I'm much bigger than before, like belly wise.
Yeah.
But she just announced that she's having her 8th, and I'm like, how does everybody do? I have
Did she start when she was younger? Because we started at 29, so we're a lot more tired.
I don't know. We should fix our energy then. We shouldn't be that tired.
We shouldn't, but technically, I mean, back in the day, people only lived to be 30 years old. So like your body was more primed to crank out kids.
Stop saying crank out kids.
Also, I don't want to be pregnant with twins because again, 5'2", short torso.
I have no service down here.
Well, but there is a small thought that I'm like, well, if the next one are twins, then I technically only have to do it one more time. And then I have all 4. You don't want to be...
Would you do natural for twins?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just we want 4 kids. Knock them out. And then I'm far enough. I don't have to like back-to-back pregnancies. So don't tell Jake, but apparently if you eat a bunch of sweet potatoes. No, actually, the thought, I think
Wild
it sounds
yams.
fun, but like, ugh.
I mean, just imagine
My diastasis with twins. I cannot imagine how uncomfortable. Like, it's doable.
like
People
how
do it. But
anybody with more than 2 kids, like how do you go on? Like, how do you want to get pregnant again?
I don't know.
It's not
It's got to be the hormones.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It
wanna
was so great and beautiful.
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah.
the exhaustion is overruling the hormones.
Yeah, probably.
But
I would say we go back and forth because we have one of each. I always wanted 2. Jacob always wanted 4. We were never going to settle with 3 because we're both from odd numbered families. Someone's always left out. So if we had 3, we were having 4. But as soon as we had 1, I knew I was having 4. And as soon as we had the 1, Jacob was like,
what do you mean? Once you had 1, you knew you were having 4?
I just knew.
They say like the number, like you know when your family's complete and then you stop.
Because he like,
which I know our family's not complete, but I'm like, oh man, shoot, it's a lot of work.
I don't know. I just as soon as that like shift happened from being traumatized from labor to like, okay, I can do that again. I immediately was like, we can probably have. I could do this 4 times. And Jake was like, no, I think we're done at 1. So that's just because
but he had a trauma. He was traumatized.
He was
from
traumatized from it.
Too.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I knew 4 would be fine. And technically, because we go back and forth. Like we have one of each. We can travel. We can go on road trips, and each person take their kid into their own bathroom. And
I mean, you're not going to have some third rando.
It does say
it's going to be either like you're going to take 2 girls in, or he's going to take 2 boys in.
But then like you're out. It's not one-on-one. It's trying to wipe this one's butt while that one's trying to run away. Because when I take my 2 anywhere in public, we always go to the family bathroom or the handicap stall. Because I'm like, you're not getting out of my sight.
Yeah.
Where do we all fit? But they're at ages where they try to run separate ways. But if we're being biblical about it, we haven't multiplied. Because every time we're like, are we done? One of us always brings up, we have not multiplied. We've just replaced ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
and there's going to be like, there's not enough people in the world to replace the jobs in 20 years.
Yeah. So we need more. We need more families that care to raise their kids, care about the future.
Yeah.
So
little freedom fighters.
Yeah. I still want to make our shirts or the Raising Lions shirts. Like make a cute graphic.
Would you guys buy that? Would you guys buy a Raising Lions shirt? And then like, do we get kid sizes too?
Yes.
Of like little lion and
Have you seen the shirts? I wanted to get one for Riker, but when I saw them, he was too young to understand how funny it is. But it's like, ask about my T-Rex. And then the shirt, you lift the shirt up over your head and there's like an upside down T-Rex. And then you like chase people with your shirt over your head.
Funny.
So I always laughed at that. But we can make a cute little kid shirt. It's like, I'm a lion.
That's sweet. Yeah. All right.
So that was it. Birth 1 was slightly traumatic and birth 2 it happened with laughter and very fast. So
yeah.
So maybe your next one won't be 26 hours. And if it is, that's okay too. But maybe it won't.
That is my expectation because
just expect it to be.
Yeah. Because they say the first is the longest. But if I always say like someone was like, oh, so-and-so went 2 weeks early. So if it's there, if that little seed is in your, it's germinating, it's growing, it's getting roots, and say like, oh, I'll go early. And then it's really depressing.
And
so don't tell anybody your guest date. Yeah. Just you yourself, and you don't have people texting you saying, have you gone yet? Mm-hmm. So, but I love it. I love that I was there for him.
Me too.
Thanks for inviting me. It's an honor.
Thanks for filming
you don't realize how much of an honor it is until like you get older and then you like have kids and you're like, oh,
like I let that like to be let into someone's personal birth space is a big deal.
Yeah. But I remember Shannon asking, like there was a doula who I know now and is very sweet, but I don't regret my decision that like she asked like, hey, like I have a doula that's in training. Can she come with me and be my assistant and like, gain experience?
Yeah.
And I just remember being so protective of that environment and being like, no, look, I have curated everybody who's supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. And like, I knew when it felt right.
Yeah.
So,
well, and each subsequent labor for me, I know I've talked about this on previous podcasts before, but the first birth, I wanted just me and Jacob and then you for filming and for being support. But like
I mean, I was there for filming. I didn't know how to support. I got you snacks.
That was helpful. The second birth, I was like fine with my mom, and even Riker, I probably would have been fine with him being in the room. Jake wasn't super comfortable with it, but I was fine with my mom. And I feel like for the next few, I've mentioned it to Jake. I'm like, I wouldn't even care if your mom came in the room. And he's like, that's weird. I'm like, it's not weird. After that many people have seen your cooter, then what's one more? But I think,
and like breastfeeding and like,
like you're doing all those
all your modesty kind of like goes away.
Yeah.
Except for like, it kind of doesn't, but it does.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. My circle, I get less protective. I think once I know what my body is doing, I don't feel as scared. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Come on in. Whatever you do is not going to stop this train once it's left the station. So within reason.
Yeah.
But it's weird how that like circle even opened up for me to have a doula the next time. And
I love it.
I love birth.
Oh, your camera died. You know when it died?
Nope. It's all right. We'll just do a bunch of side shots.
All right.
We're doing our best.
This camera died, so we'll see you guys on the next episode of Under the Sun. We are really grateful that you're here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I looked at my camera again. It's not there.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks for being with us today. Follow us on Instagram at underthesun_podcast. We'd love to meet you.
Please help us out by subscribing on YouTube and leaving a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time. Please remember this information is made available to you for informational and educational purposes only. It is in no way a substitute for medical advice.